thinking about what your property is worth, you go online, you go on realestate.com, you Google your address, it gives you a price. Can you rely on that price? We're going to talk about it today. Stay tuned.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Morning Minutes, episode 1661. Auto Val your property, Heartbreak. What is it? Can you rely on it? Let's talk about it. Mark, the Auto Val is sort of the new craze phenomenon. That's pronounced very incorrectly. But there's a lot of websites offering it. You've got Combank, type it into Google, there will be a price. REA.
Yeah.
Like before, you used to have to call an expert to get a price on a property, but now you can just Google it and get a price. But we've heard some shocking stories about that. We've also, in the process of marketing a property for sale, we've had people come through the open home and say, well, I Googled that address and it says it's only worth 1.1, you're guiding 1.3. So what's going on here? How do they, first of all, what is an auto val? How does it work? Can it be relied upon?
I think it all comes from the intention from consumers that own a property. And they all love to know where they're sitting in the marketplace. They're guessing in their brain. They're looking at comparison sales. When they're behind the keyboard and they're a keyboard ninja, then they're saying, okay, let's have a look at the address. I'm going to go down for you.
Yeah, to be fair.
Let's have a look at the address and see exactly where we think it sits in that marketplace. So the problem is when people start relying on that. When people wanted to advance their inquiry, they would literally walk in or telephone an agency and they'd say, okay, can you come and look at my place? And it would be quite an exacting sort of process. Now, don't forget, with an agent, it's still not a valuation.
Correct.
It's an opinion. And that agent is meeting all the buyers out there and they're saying, we feel that the buyers out there will pay this. It's not an exact science. But when you're doing it online, you don't get the benefit of looking through the property when you're the computer that's giving out that information.
Yeah, because a lot of the time, let's say, so if a property's recently been sold a couple times or for lease, you can tend to find if there's an active building, you can find that data is a little bit more accurate because a lot of the time how they do it, it's sold for 1 million, let's say 10 years ago, and there's been 5% growth each year, and it gives you a bit of a figure that way. But that doesn't take into consideration if you've renovated the property.
Yep.
Or sometimes for properties that have never been on the market, like I've had clients, they've owned it for 40 years. RP data, the software's never confirmed how many bedrooms. So it's counting it as a 2-bedroom apartment when it's only 1 bedroom, and that price is well off. And so it can be very inaccurate. And I was telling Mark and Lisa this morning when we were talking about auto vows of a bit of a horror story where I had an owner who had been putting his address into the property, and that came out with a figure, and he'd been checking it every couple of times a year, planning his retirement based on that price. I get to the property doing a presentation. I say the property is worth 300,000. And he goes, but the auto vows it's been saying it's worth 1.2 million. And I was like, oh no, commercial's even less accurate than residential. And this gentleman had been planning his retirement based on that auto vow instead of just picking up the phone and calling an agent, which I get a lot of people, they're a bit timid by that because they feel like they're going to be sold or hassled, which is why our 3-minute appraisal is amazing. And we get thousands and thousands of owners where they can just text message us an address and we will reply with a price.
And all of our knowledge.
That's
the difference. I think it's not artificial knowledge, it's real knowledge. The thing is, why this has become such a huge thing and a big attraction for people out there, and people actually don't know this. These people are selling your lead to real estate agents.
3 minutes, one price, one message. The best marketing we've done.
But what's happening with these online appraisals is once they've got your name and number, they are selling your name and number to a real estate agent,
Yes.
and they charge the real estate agent anywhere between $3,000 to sort of $7,000 or $8,000 for your name and number if you list your property with that agent. About 20% of your selling fee. So if you're a property for $1 million and the selling fee is 2%, it's 20 grand. About 20% of that, they're actually going to about $4,000. The agent is going to pay that referral company. So if you're wondering why it's so explosive now, that when you put in your address, it asks for your details, and they give you breadcrumbs. So you want more, you give them more. You want more, you give them more. And they breadcrumb information. So just be careful, because when you actually genuinely call a real estate agent, you will genuinely get an opinion of what they think buyers, and then that market will pay for your property. They'll know you're building already. They'll have a look through. When you're doing the auto val, you're going down that sort of garden path of getting information that isn't exact towards your property, and then they're reselling your information to us real estate agents. We pay for those referrals. They're good referrals.
And that's another thing. It's like, and a lot of the time, that's the nail on the head there, because you may be thinking, why is Combank even offering this? They're wanting it for them. It's a way to get more revenue, to sell your data of your knowledge, of your need or your want to know what your property is worth. They're sort of capturing that and then making revenue from it, which
I think realestate.com.au has 60% of owners now, name, number, and email.
yeah, it's a beast.
It's a beast.
But I think so. The moral of the topic today, these auto vals, it's a great service. It can be a great tool, but you still need to rely on an experienced agent. And especially what would be worth doing is look at your auto val, get an agent in, and just see what those price differences are, if there is any. Because then, you can, and if you find that for your property, it might be quite accurate, then you can trust it a bit more. But you might find your auto val pricing is 50% less or more than what the agents are saying. And therefore, you can just put in the memory bank, these figures are not accurate for this type of property. And we see that quite often.
Don't bank on, or don't solely rely on the auto val that you're getting.
Yeah. It'll be an auto mistake.
Do you want to talk about your ball?
Mark wanted my ball, and I said, this is my ball. I'll bring you one next week.
He's doing a podcast video. He drops his ball and he decides to pick up the ball over the podcast.
Yeah, because I didn't want anyone to trip over in the back. There were all the people watching and listening to us.
Carries balls and bounces balls.
Yeah. Thank you.
He offered me a ball today.
He wanted to play with my ball.
Have a great day, guys.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Bye.